Manisha Jackson on the bed.
Have you ever looked in the mirror and felt like you were looking at someone you used to know? Not because your face changed, not because your address changed, not because your career changed, but because somewhere along your journey, you changed. Or maybe you disappeared. I don't mean physically, I mean emotionally, mentally, spiritually. The things that used to make you smile don't quite have the same effect anymore. The dreams you once carried have been replaced by responsibilities. The joy you once felt has been overshadowed by obligations. And if someone stopped you today and simply asked, what do you enjoy? What makes you happy? What brings you peace? You might have to stop and really think about it. Not because there's nothing you enjoy, but because you've spent so much time making sure everyone else was okay that you stopped checking on yourself. Well, welcome back to Transparency, Owning Your Impact in Relationships. I'm your host, Tamiko Michelle, and today we have reached the final conversation of Season 3. So first, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for allowing me into your mornings, your late night drives, your walks, your quiet moments, and your healing journey. Thank you for trusting me enough to have these conversations with you. This season has been different. It wasn't about pretending we had life figured out. It wasn't about having all the answers. It was about having the courage to ask the right questions. Questions about our identity, questions about our boundaries, questions about our worth, questions about the relationship we have with ourselves. And if you've stayed with me through every conversation, I believe you've already started changing. Not because of anything I said, but because you were willing to be honest. Because healing doesn't begin when life gets easier. I say it all the time. Healing begins the moment we're honest. As I prepared this final conversation, I kept asking myself, how do you end a season about a relationship with yourself? How do you wrap up months of conversations about identity and people pleasing and boundaries, grace and healing? Then one sentence came to me, and I've held on to it and couldn't let it go. You didn't lose yourself overnight, but you lost yourself one yes at a time. And when I heard that, everything made sense to me. Because when I look back over my own life, I can't point to one day and say, yep, that's the day I lost myself. Because it wasn't one day. It wasn't one conversation. It wasn't one relationship. It wasn't one decision. It was little by little. It was one yes after another. And I want to be very transparent. I'm not pointing fingers or blames. I'm not saying anybody used me. I'm saying that's where I ended up. There was a season when I became the fixer, the peacemaker, the one everyone called when something fell apart, the one expected to somehow bring everything back together. If there was conflict, I tried to resolve it. If someone was hurting, I tried to help. If someone was broken, I tried to fix it. When things worked out, I was appreciated, sometimes even celebrated. But oh boy, when they didn't, I carried the blame. And because I loved deeply, I just kept saying yes. Yes, I'll help. I'll figure it out. Yes, I'll carry it. Yes, I'll sacrifice. Yes, I'll make it work. Yes, I'll be there. And before I realized what was happening, I had become so focused on everybody else's needs that I had forgotten about my own. I became so busy trying to please everyone else, especially family, sorry to say it, that somewhere in the middle of all those yeses, I lost Tamiko. A friend and I were conversing one day, and we were discussing how she often hear people say how they lost themselves, and she just never experienced that. What does that feel like, look like? Why does it happen? And I really couldn't explain it, but all I knew was I had experienced it, but didn't know when it actually happened or how I ended up in that spiral. All I knew was I had to get back to myself. And to be honest, what did that even mean? How do you get back to yourself? You're already yourself, aren't you? I didn't understand then. But life has a way of teaching lessons, right? That words alone never could. And I began to reflect more and more. And what came to me was, you spend years becoming who someone else needs until you slowly stop becoming yourself. Instead, you become the dependable one, the responsible one, the strong one, the peacekeeper, the rescuer, the one who never says no, the one everyone counts on, the one who keeps everybody else's world from falling apart. And while everyone is celebrating how dependable you are, they don't even notice that you, yourself, you are disappearing. And then one day you wake up and you realize that you know everybody else's favorite restaurant, but not your own. You know everyone else's dreams, but you've stopped dreaming. You know how to comfort everybody else, but you don't know what comforts you. You know how to carry everyone else's burdens, but you've forgotten what it feels like to put your own down. And that's one of the saddest kinds of loss, because you didn't lose your job. You didn't lose your house. You didn't lose your title. You lost you. But not all at once. Not because you were weak. Not because you didn't love God. Not because you weren't trying. You lost yourself one yes at a time. You know, when we hear the phrase, I lost myself, it sounds like something happened all at once, right? Like we woke up one morning, looked in the mirror, and suddenly didn't recognize the person staring back at us. But that's not usually how it happens, right? It's much quieter than that. It's saying yes when your heart wanted to say no. It's choosing peacekeeping over peace and apologizing for having needs. It's convincing yourself that everyone else's happiness is somehow your responsibility. You hear people say it all the time. I'm happy as long as you're happy. And after enough of those moments, you stop asking yourself what you need, because you've become accustomed to asking everyone else what they need first. So I wonder how many of us have mistaken self-sacrifice for self-abandonment. Now hear me carefully. There is a difference. As believers, we're called to serve. That's just what we do by nature. We're called to love. We're called to give. Jesus modeled that perfectly. But Jesus also withdrew to pray. He rested. He stepped away from the crowds. He didn't heal every person in every town. He didn't say yes to every request. Everything he did was surrendered by the Father's will, not the people's expectations. And sometimes we've confused being available to everyone with being obedient. And those are not always the same thing. Some of us have built our identity around being needed. That was me. And that was a hard truth to accept. We don't feel valuable unless someone needs our advice, unless someone calls us in a crisis, unless we're solving a problem, unless we're carrying someone else's burdens. And if we're honest, there's something comforting about being needed. It is. I'm guilty. Because it gives us purpose. It gives us validation. It makes us feel important. But here's the danger. When your identity is built on being needed, you'll begin accepting assignments that God never gave you. You'll carry burdens that He never asked you to carry. You'll fight battles He never called you to fight. And then you'll wonder, why you're exhausted. I had to ask myself a hard question. Was I helping because God asked me to, or because I needed to feel needed? Now that broke me down. It humbled me. Because sometimes what looks like kindness on the outside is actually fear on the inside. Fear of disappointing people, fear of rejection, fear that if I stop giving, people might stop loving me. Have you ever felt that way? Have you ever worried that the moment you stop being everything to everyone, that you would totally disappear? That you will no longer be enough? That you're no longer relevant? But check this out. The beautiful thing about God's love is that it doesn't work like that. He didn't wait until we had it all together. He loved us first, not because of what we could do for him, but because of who we are to him. His children, chosen, we're loved. And that changes everything. Because if my worth was settled at the cross, then I don't have to spend my life chasing validation from people. So maybe today, God isn't asking you to do more. Maybe he's inviting you to lay something down. Maybe he's asking you to release the guilt that you've been carrying, to stop trying to rescue everybody. Because here's the truth. You were never meant to be anyone's savior. You were not. Jesus already filled that role. And every time we try to carry what only he can carry, we end up crushed under a weight we were never designed to bear. So, okay, I know what it feels like to believe that if you don't hold everything together, everything will fall apart. I know what that feels like. But I've also learned this. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is to let go. Not because you don't care. No, that's not it. But because you trust that God's hands are stronger than yours. And you can't fix everything. So let me ask you something. When was the last time you checked in on yourself? Huh? Not your schedule, not your responsibilities, not your to-do list, but you. When was the last time you asked, how is my soul? When was the last time you sat quietly without trying to fix anything, without trying to fix anybody, without trying to earn anything, without trying to give anything, without trying to prove anything, but just sit? Because I think that's where we begin to find our way back. Not by becoming someone new, but by remembering who we've always been. Before the pressure, before the expectations, before the performance, before all the yeses that slowly pulled us away from ourselves. That's where healing begins. Not in striving, but in returning. Returning to the God who has always known your name. Returning to your peace. Returning to the person that you were created to be. And maybe, just maybe, guys, maybe coming home to yourself starts with one simple decision. The courage to believe that your worth has never depended on how much of yourself you could give away. But it has always depended on the one who gave everything to you. You know what's beautiful about God? He never asked us to pretend. He never said, act like you're okay. Hide your scars. Ignore your pain. No, he never said that. Never. But he has been in the business of restoration, not replacement. Think about it. When we hear the word restore, we often imagine God making us into someone completely different. But restoration doesn't erase the original. It reveals it. Okay, check this out. Just imagine an old painting. And now imagine this old painting being restored. The artist doesn't create a new masterpiece. They carefully remove everything that has covered the original beauty. The dust, the cracks, the discoloration, the years of wear, until what was always there can finally be seen again. Oh my goodness. And I wonder if that's what God has been doing in us all along, not trying to make us someone else, but gently removing everything that convinced us we weren't enough. The fear, the shame, the guilt, the people pleasing, the need to perform, the lies we believed about our worth. You are not an accident. You are not an afterthought. You are not trying to invent your purpose. You're discovering it. You're discovering it. Guess what? God already saw it before you were born. He already called you worthy before anyone else ever questioned your worth. And that means something, because people can reject you without reducing your value. People can misunderstand you without changing your identity. People can even walk away from you without taking your purpose with them. Your identity has never belonged to people. And that truth alone changed my life. Because for a long time, I confused acceptance with identity. I thought if people approved of me, I was doing something right. If they were disappointed in me, then maybe I needed to change. Maybe I needed to work harder. Maybe I needed to give more. Maybe I needed to become less so someone else could feel like more. Have you ever done that? Have you ever done that? Made yourself smaller so someone else could stay comfortable. Silenced your voice. Oh yeah, I've done that. Because you didn't want to be misunderstood. Carried the weight of expectations that was never placed on your shoulders. See, I have. And here's what I've learned. You can spend your entire life becoming who everyone else wants you to be and still never feel at home within yourself. Because peace doesn't come from meeting everyone's expectations. Peace comes from living in your purpose. See, the older I get, and I'm getting older, the older I get, the more I realize that healing isn't measured by how little you cry. It's not. It's measured by how quickly you return to the truth. There will still be hard days. There will still be moments when the old habits try to pull you back. You still feel tempted to extend yourself. Still wrestle with guilt after setting a boundary. You'll still have moments where the old version of you whispers, okay, just one more yes, just go ahead and do it. But healing sounds different. Healing whispers back. Healing says, you don't have to answer right now. Healing says, let me think about it. I'll get back with you. Healing says, that isn't mine to carry. And guess what? Healing also says, no. Without spending the next 3 days apologizing for it. So can I tell you something that took me years to understand? I mean, years. Every no isn't a rejection. Sometimes it's protection. Every closed door isn't punishment. Sometimes it's provision. Every delay isn't denial. Sometimes it's preparation. God isn't trying to keep good things from you. He's trying to keep you from things that would cost you peace. Cost you your peace. One of the greatest signs of maturity isn't how much you can carry. It's knowing what belongs to you. Because everything isn't your assignment. And everything isn't your emergency. And everything isn't your responsibility. And the moment you stop carrying what was never meant for you to carry, you will finally have the strength to carry what was meant for you. Or maybe that's why Jesus said in Matthew 11, "Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." Notice he didn't say, "Come to me after you fixed yourself." He simply said, "Come." That's the invitation. Not to perform, not to prove, not to pretend, just come. So as we prepare to close this season, I don't want you to leave believing that healing means you'll never struggle, because it doesn't mean that. Healing simply means that you know where to return when you do. You return to truth instead of your fears. You return to his promises instead of people's opinions. You return to his peace instead of your performance. You return to his love instead of trying to earn someone else's. And every time you return, you'll recognize yourself a little more. Not because you're becoming someone new, but because you finally began living as the person
Kamisha Jackson on the
you should have
beat.
been living all along. Maybe that's what coming home really means. Not arriving at perfection, but finally resting in the truth that you were never too broken to be restored, and never too far gone to be reminded of who you are. So as we come to the end, I don't want to leave you with another lesson. I want to leave you with a moment. Because transformation doesn't happen when we simply hear truth. No, it doesn't. It happens when we allow truth to examine us. I want you to do something for me, actually. Not tomorrow, not next week, today. When this conversation ends, I want you to find a quiet place. Stand in front of a mirror, not to criticize yourself, not to point out everything you wish you could change, not to focus on the weight you've gained or too much weight you've lost, not to focus on the wrinkles or the mistakes you've made. Just look in the mirror. Really look. Because for so long you've been looking at yourself through the eyes of your own disappointment, through the opinions of people, through the weight of expectations, through the lenses of failure. And today I want you to look at yourself through the eyes of grace. Look at someone who survived things they never thought they would survive. Look at someone who kept praying when they didn't have the answers. Look at someone who kept showing up when giving up would have been easier. Look at someone who has cried and laughed and failed and grown and fallen and gotten back up. That person deserves compassion. That person deserves patience. That person deserves the same kindness you so freely give to everyone else. So while you're standing there, I want you to say, even if your voice shakes, even if the tears begin to fall, say these words: I'm proud of you. I forgive you. I love you. I'm not leaving you ever again. Because healing isn't just about forgiving the people who hurt us. Sometimes it's about forgiving ourselves. And that ends. It's over. Today, you come home. So for this conversation, for this season 3, this is my final prayer. Heavenly Father, thank you for meeting us here. Thank you for walking with us through every conversation this season, through every difficult truth, every painful memory, every breakthrough, every tear, and every moment of hope. Father, thank you that our identity has never been found in what we do, but in whose we are. Thank you that before anyone ever called us successful or unsuccessful, worthy or unworthy, accepted or rejected, you called us yours. Lord, I pray for every person listening today who feels like they've been carrying the weight of the world, the one who's been everything for everybody else, but doesn't know who they are anymore. Remind them that they don't have to earn your love. They don't have to perform for your acceptance. They don't have to prove their worth, because Jesus already settled that on the cross. Teach us to love the people around us without losing ourselves in them. Teach us to serve without neglecting our souls. Teach us to give without giving away the peace that you died for us to have. Give us wisdom to know when to speak and when to be still. Give us courage to say no without guilt, and yes, only when it aligns with what we can do. Heal every heart that has been shaped by rejection, and restore every identity that has been buried beneath fear, performance, or people pleasing. Help us release the burdens you never asked us to carry, and remind us that you are still God, even when we put them down. Lord, let us leave this season lighter, wiser, healthier, more honest, more compassionate, more rooted in your truth than in the opinion of people. And when we forget, bring us back. Bring us back. When we wonder, bring us back. When we become overwhelmed, God, bring us back. Back to your presence, back to your promises, back to your peace. We surrender every relationship, every fear, every expectation, and every part of ourselves in your hands, because there is no safer place to be. We love you, we trust you, and we thank you for never giving up on us, even in the moments we gave up on ourselves. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay, grab a tissue. But before I say goodbye, I just want to say thank you. Thank you again for inviting me into your life. Thank you for allowing me to sit with you in moments that were beautiful and moments that were painful. Thank you for trusting me enough to be transparent. And if you've listened to every episode this season, I hope you've discovered something. Not just about relationships, not just about healing, but something about yourself. Your identity isn't determined by who accepts or rejects you. And your peace is too precious to exchange for anyone's approval. You didn't lose yourself because you were weak. You lost yourself because you loved deeply. And somewhere along the way, you forgot to love yourself too. But here's the beautiful part. What was forgotten can be remembered. What was buried can be uncovered. What felt lost can be found, because God created you and He's never forgotten who you are. So don't rush your healing. Don't compare your journey. Don't measure your progress against someone else's timeline. Just keep taking the next faithful step, one prayer at a time, one healthy boundary at a time, one honest conversation at a time, one act of courage at a time, one decision at a time. And if one day you find yourself slipping back into old patterns, remember this: healing isn't about never falling. It's about knowing where to return. Return to truth, return to God's love, return to peace, and return to yourself. Because the person you've been searching for has been there all along, waiting patiently for you to come home. I'm Tamiko Michelle, and this has been Transparency on Your Impact in Relationships. Until next time, keep choosing truth, keep choosing grace, keep choosing healing, and above all, keep choosing the person God created you to be. God bless you.